Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Mawar Sekar Rosita, and now I want to explain about Speech Act from Pragmatics. Well, in Pragmatics, we will also learn about the concept of Speech Act. There are two things contained in the concept of Speech Act, namely act and speech or action. In practice, these two things can form the same meanings as intended by the speaker, but can also be different or even completely opposite. This course gives rise to various speech acts that are influenced by various factors, including the context and purpose of speaker. So we will discuss what is meant by speech acts and their types. Let's go! Definition of speech acts. When communicating, a speaker not only utters speech or speak, but also takes action. According to Furher, the speech act is the utterance of a sentence containing the principle of the possible imprecisely stating what is meant by the speaker. This relates to strategies or tactics to make the speech partner do or not do something in accordance with the content of the speech conveyed by the speaker. The theory of speech acts was put forward by two philosophers of language named John Austin and John Shirley in the 1960s. According to this theory, every time the speaker utters a sentence, he is trying to do something with the words or in the sentence. According to the term Austin, by saying something we do something. Austin defines a speech act as a piece of speech that is produced as part of social interaction. Saying something is doing something, and language speech can be used to make something happen. Austin asserts that speech acts are related to speech analysis in relation to the behavior of speakers of language with their interlocutors. The speech act is a communication activity which contains the intention to be conveyed when speaking and the desired effect by the speaker. Meanwhile, according to Chair and Augustine, speech acts are individual symptoms that are physiological, and their continuity is determined by the speaker's language ability in dealing with certain situations by paying attention to the meaning of the speech. The speech act focuses more on the meaning of the act in an utterance. Therefore, in every speech event, there is a series of speech acts that are organized to achieve a certain goal. Speech acts can be in the form of statements, orders, and statements. Okay, of speech acts. Analytical type, Austin distinguishes speech acts into three types, namely locutionary action, illocutionary action, and perlocutionary action. Locutionary action. Locutionary speech acts are action of saying something with words and sentences according to the meaning in the dictionary and according to the syntax rule. The locutionary acts are speech acts that are relatively the easiest to identify because their identification can be done without including the context of the speech included in the speech situation. According to Rahardi, locutionary acts are speech acts with words, phrase, and sentence according to the meanings contained by these words, phrase, and sentence. In locutionary acts, the intent and function of the speech conveyed by the speaker is not an issue. For example, an utterance that reads, "My hands are itching." Locationary is intended as a statement that describes the physical condition of the speaker who is feeling itchy on his hands. Based on grammatical categories, Locationary Speech Act can be divided into three, namely, the first one is form of statement or declarative. The form of the statement serves only to tell something to others so that the listener is expected to pay attention. And second, question form or interrogative. The form of the question serves to ask something so that the listener is expected to provide answers to the question posed by the speaker. And the third is command form or imperative. The imperative form has the intention that the listener responds in the form of the requested actions. And the second from types of speech acts is Illocutionary Act. Illocutionary speech acts are speech acts that contain intent, its relationship with sentence forms that embody an expression. According to Rahardi, illocutionary speech acts are acts of doing something with a specific purpose and function. These illocutionary speech acts are usually related to giving permission, saying thank you, ordering, offering, promising, and so on. In contrast to locutionary speech acts, illocutionary speech acts are speech acts that contain the intent and function of or power of speech. Illocutionary speech acts are not easy to identify. This relates to who speaks to whom, when, and where the speech act is carried out, and so on. For example, in the speech, "My hands are itching," the speaker conveys not only to describe the condition of his hands that are feeling itchy, but more than that the speaker performs certain actions related to itching. For example, taking painkillers and others. Shirley classifies illocutionary acts into 5 types, namely assertives, directives, expressive, commissive, and declarative. Let's get in number 1. Assertive speech act that describes circumstances or events, such as a report, demands, and statements. For examples like final examination start at 7 o'clock sharp. And second is directives. Directive, the form of speech intended by the speaker to make an influence so that the speaker partner takes action, such as suggestion, request, and order. Example, "Please have a seat," like that. And the third is expressive. Speech acts used by speaker to express feelings and attitudes towards something. For example, like, "The student is very handsome." Next, commissive. Speech form that function to state something in the future, such as a promise or threat. For example, like, "I will propose to you next month." And the last is declarative. Speech acts that can change the situation. For example, "I hereby declare you passed." This word changes a person's status from an ungraduate state to a graduate state. And the third from type of speech act is perlocutionary action. Perlocutionary speech acts refer to the effect the speaker has on saying something, such as making him feel confident, happy, and motivated. According to Rahardi, for Locationary Acts are acts that have an effect on the speech partner. The example of the speech, "My hand itches," can be used by the speaker to create the effect of fear in the speech partner. This fear arises, it could be because the speaker is a bouncer by profession. Well, friends, I think that's all about Speech Act. I hope it can be I hope this material can be help you, and thank you for watching. I'm sorry if I have something word maybe it's false, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.